Take a look.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Hero Chris back at you with another one. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, hit me up on Twitter, TikTok, the community post. You already know the vibes, and I'm back. It's been a while since I posted any type of content. Sometimes, man, as a content creator, you just need a break, you know? If any of you are in the content creator space and you feel like you just need to take some time off and just not do anything, do it, man. But you're not here to hear me talk about all that. What you're here to hear me talk about is AEW Dynamite, because it's Wednesday and you already know what that means. Forbidden Door is right around the corner. It's Forbidden Door season. This is the go home episode for Forbidden Door. And what an episode it was. Me personally, I like this episode a whole lot better than I did last week's episode, because, you know, honestly, I wasn't feeling last week's episode. On top of that, you had Kendrick Lamar publicly burying Drake 6 feet under while singing Not Like Us multiple times. So that really had more of my attention than Dynamite last week did. But this week's Dynamite was in Buffalo, New York. Speaking of New York, it kicks off with MJF. He's out there, you know, he's doing his thing. Before he can really get a chance to talk, Daniel Garcia comes out. And, you know, he's the hometown boy, he's the Buffalo boy. And he's, you know, pretty much saying that he wanted to take this opportunity to say something nice about MJF. Which, that's something nobody really does, because, you know, it's MJF. But what Daniel Garcia was saying was he was thanking MJF for, you know, giving him the opportunity to wrestle for the AEW championship last year. It really lit a fire under him to, you know, go harder and work harder and get to a better position to not just be a pillar of AEW, but to really be the backbone, the heart and the soul of AEW. And MJF said, you know what, man, he put himself over. He put over the fact that Forbidden Door is in Long Island this Sunday, and he put over the fact that he's gonna be at Dynamite next week, which is in Chicago, I think, and he's gonna be in Collision in Memphis, whatever that is. And he also put over Daniel Garcia. And this segment as a whole really did do a good job of putting over Daniel Garcia, because ultimately what ended up happening is MJF challenged Daniel Garcia to a match at Wembley Stadium, All In, this August, I think. And, you know, they're saying, you know, we're going to put on a banger after banger. And speaking of bangers, Will Ospreay comes out. And he does a good job of pulling over Daniel Garcia as well. And he says that next week is going to be Daniel Garcia versus Will Ospreay for the AEW International Championship. And you can kind of see MJF in the background looking a little salty, because Will Ospreay came out and, you know, took his shine, took all the spotlight off MJF. And then Will Ospreay takes off, and Daniel Garcia goes to talk to MJF again. But MJF is like, you know, man, focus on your match next week. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Bye. So you can tell that MJF was definitely feeling some type of way about this. And speaking of Will Ospreay, you see Swerve in the background, because not only did Will Ospreay say that he's putting in the International Championship on the line, but he also said he's putting the AEW Championship on the line. And Swerve's like, hold up there, pimpin', because you haven't beaten me for the AEW Championship yet, so let's not put the cart before the horse. And you don't want to lose focus on the main objective, and that is being the AEW champion. And this was going into more of what Swerve was saying about how Will Ospreay isn't ready. He doesn't have the focus. He doesn't have the killer instinct to be the AEW champion. And we can just go ahead and fast forward to the main event, because this was one of two Can They Coexist tag team matches. You had Swerve and Will Ospreay taking on the Gates of Agony. And like I said, this is a Can They Coexist tag team match. And I don't really like the Can They Coexist storyline, no matter what company does it, whether it's AEW, WWE, TNA, whoever. I'm not really a fan of it, because I don't know, it's just overdone. I'm not really too big of a fan. But I will say that they did have more fun doing this than the other tag team match I'm going to talk about, because Will was looking like, look, man, these guys are bigger than us. They're going to kill us. Let's work together. And Swerve's like, whatever, dude. And you do have the miscommunication spots where, one person accidentally kicks the other one person goes for the tag, and the other person isn't there. So it's all the familiar spots that you're used to. But to the surprise of absolutely nobody, Swerve and Ospreay win the match. Will Ospreay actually got the win. He got the pin. So by wrestling logic, you would think, okay, Will isn't winning the AEW championship because he got the visible pinfall victory. But then after the match, you see Will Ospreay doing that thing where he takes Swerve's championship again, and only to get kicked in the face with a house call by Swerve, because Swerve gave him the heads up like, listen, the last time you did that will be the last time you put your hands on the AEW championship. And Swerve made Ospreay pay for it. So yeah, man, that's really feeding into the whole storyline of Will Ospreay being more hesitant to, pull the trigger, because there was one spot during the match where Will Ospreay was about to hit the Tiger Driver, but he didn't. So you have Will Ospreay, who's more hesitant, versus Swerve, who's gonna take his shot no matter what, no matter who it is. So that is doing a real good job of building up the main event championship match for Forbidden Door. We have the Blackpool Combat Club taking on Le Faction Ingobernable de Japón. And this is a fun trios match, a fun 6-man going on. And a very rare occasion this happens in AEW. You had a disqualification because John Moxley hit somebody with a steel chair and got the team disqualified. So that's something that's very rare. So when you have the BCC fighting, you have LIJ fighting, and then you have Tetsuya Naito come out. He's doing the thing with his eye, and then him and John Moxley start fighting, and then Shingo Takagi and Danielson, they're in the middle of the ring looking at each other, building up to their match. So this was what was going on this episode of Dynamite. A whole bunch of cross promotion, interpromotional stuff going on. A whole bunch of people just looking at each other. A whole bunch of people saying, "I'm gonna fight you at Forbidden Door." And on top of all that, you still have the Owen Hart tournament going on, because the next match was between Rey Fenix and Jay White. And this was pretty fun. It was fun the way it started, because you had the Lucha Brothers doing the Zero Miedo talent, and then you had the Bang Bang Gang doing the Guns Up taunt. So they're just going back and forth, and the referee just ends up throwing everybody out the ring. So it's just a straight up one-on-one match between Jay White and Rey Fenix. And I wouldn't mind seeing these two wrestle again and again, because they have tremendous chemistry. But to the surprise of absolutely nobody, because I picked Jay White to win. And there's a part of me that wants Jay White to go pretty far in this tournament. I don't know how far he's going to end up going, because I think the next person he's going to fight is going to be between Jeff Jarrett and the Wild Card, and we'll get into that in a little bit later. But after the match, you have the Bang Bang Gang celebrating with Jay White, and then the Patriarchy comes out. Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne come out. And it's looking like they're setting up the big trios match for the trios titles in the near future, whether that happens in All In or on a random episode of Collision or Dynamite. Only time will tell, but there's that. But speaking of trios, we have my new favorite trio, the Conglomeration. That's Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, and Orange Cassidy. And it's more of the same, man. It's more of the same. It's Mark Briscoe looking down the lens of a camera, yelling and carrying on. And you have Kyle O'Reilly trying to, follow in the footsteps of Mark Briscoe. He's trying to yell. He's talking in a country accent, and he's talking in a British accent. And he's looking at Mark Briscoe like, how did I do? And Mark Briscoe said, that'll do, pig. That'll do. So you have them yelling, and Orange Cassidy just being Orange Cassidy, just, being like, hey, whatever. And this kind of leads us to our match between Kyle O'Reilly and Zack Sabre Jr. And this was a really fine match. It was a lot going on. There was a whole lot going on. You had Orange Cassidy on commentary. You had Gabe Kidd and the Undisputed Kingdom at ringside watching this match. Zack Sabre Jr. ended up making Kyle O'Reilly tap out. After the match, you had the TMD Kent come out of nowhere, and then you had Orange Cassidy in the ring, and then you had Ishii come out of nowhere, and then you have the Undisputed Kingdom yelling at Gabe Kidd. And I'm like, what is really going on? Because there's a lot going on. I don't know what this is building to. And out of all this that's going on, the main focus of the match was Orange Cassidy and Zack Sabre Jr. for some reason. So I don't really know what the point of all this was. The match itself was fun. It was just a lot going on, man. It was a lot for me to keep up with. So after this, we have shenanigans from our EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. They're calling out the Acclaim because of the fact that they cheated, and the Eliminator match last week. The challenging team actually won an Eliminator match. I was happy. I was celebrating because the streak of people, of champions beating the challengers in these Eliminator matches has finally been broken. Happy days are here again. Even though they quote unquote cheated, it is what it is, man. It's building up to a tag team match between the Acclaim and the Young Bucks. And as much as I don't really care for the Acclaimed, it is cool to see that they are getting some type of shine. However, the Acclaim come out and they're calling out the EVPs, they're calling out the Young Bucks, they're calling out the Elite. And what's gonna happen at Forbidden Door is gonna be the EVPs, the Elite, Matthew and Nicholas, and Okada, who keeps calling everyone a bitch, taking on the Acclaim, Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, and not Daddy Ass, the president of New Japan, Tanahashi. And I'm like, okay, I guess. We get Tanahashi and Okada in the same ring. We get the Young Bucks and the Acclaim in the same ring. So, cool, I guess. I mean, I'm not really too over the moon about this whole Elite Acclaim storyline. But one thing we do got to keep an eye on is the fact that the Elite said that they're the wild card that I mentioned earlier that's going to take on Jeff Jarrett is being handpicked by the Elite. And a lot of people are thinking that it's going to be old Hangman Adam Page. He's going to come back for some cowboy shiznit. So I'm not too mad about that. But yeah, this whole EVP Acclaim storyline, it ain't really for me, man. I ain't really feeling it. Speaking of things I ain't really feeling, we have Saraya. Saraya and a new version of the Outcast. I'm calling this Outcast 3.0. And on the plus side, you are seeing Anna Jay getting more TV time. And Anna Jay on TV, I'm not mad at that at all. And they're taking on the Can They Coexist team of Mina Shirakawa, Toni Storm, and Mariah May. And this is leading up to not only the AEW Women's Championship match, but this is also a custody of Mariah May match. And like I said, man, it's more of the Can They Coexist storyline. The same thing I mentioned with Will Ospreay and Swerve. You know, I'm attacking this person, I'm not gonna tag you in. Oh, you should have tagged me in. And, you know, the typical storyline, man. Nothing new, nothing we haven't seen before, man. Mina ends up getting the win for her team, which means she's not winning the AEW Women's Championship. But after the match, you know, they celebrate with champagne, champagne. You know, they're all sipping on the bubbly and whatnot. And it's looking like Mina is about to hit Toni Storm in the head with a bottle of champagne, but Toni misses, and she accidentally hits Mariah May upside the head on the dome piece with a bottle of champagne. And Toni Storm is pissed. She's looking like she wants to rip Mina's head off, and the referees are like, no, save it for the pay-per-view, But I'm like, is Mariah May okay? We need an update post haste. But yeah, man, can they coexist, man? Can we just let this die out for a little bit? Let's give it a break, give it a rest, let it die. But something I don't want to die is Mercedes Moné, because, you know, she's doing a little promo for her match against Stephanie Vaquer, and Stephanie's gonna have a match this Saturday on Collision. So Mercedes says she's gonna be on Collision as well, because that's the price you pay when you mess with Mercedes Moné. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is everyone's favorite segment. You guessed it, the damn learning tree. Oh brother, let's talk about it. So they come out, and originally what I thought was going to happen was going to be a trios match. The learning tree taking on Shibata, Hook, and Samoa Joe. And Obviously I wasn't looking forward to this because I was thinking we finally got hooked away from the Jericho Vortex. Samoa Joe came through and saved this man just for them to go right back to the Jericho Vortex. But things happen. A curveball was thrown. What happened last week was Brian Keith was injured by Shibata and hooking them, and it's looking like he won't be able to participate in the trios match. So Chris Jericho says, you know what? I have an ace in the hole, man. I have a trick up my sleeve. This person is gonna be a part of the learning tree, and it's Minoru Suzuki. However, Chris Jericho didn't watch the video before he came out. He figured that Suzuki would be his tag team partner, but we were all swerved, we were all hoodwinked, we were all bamboozled because Suzuki said he wants no part of the learning tree. He doesn't even know what the learning tree is. He says that Chris Jericho is a habitual grind runner. He's running away from Suzuki. He's scared. He's scared. Basically, what's going to happen is Suzuki versus Jericho for the FTW Championship. And I'm like, well, what's going to happen with the trios match that I didn't want to see? Instead, we're going to get an FTW match that I don't want to see. So, I don't know what's happening. This was kind of confusing. I'm assuming it's going to be Suzuki versus Jericho for the FTW Championship. And that's probably going to be the match that I pay attention to the least. Because I do not care about Chris Jericho. I do not care about the learning tree. I don't care about trees at all. I don't care about apples. I care about none of this. I'll probably be on my cellular device scrolling through Twitter while Chris Jericho is struggling through another wrestling match. So yeah. But that being said, guys, that was the go home episode of Dynamite for Forbidden Door, which takes place this Sunday. Be on the lookout for the review. Yeah, man, what do you guys think of this week's episode of Dynamite? Are you excited for Forbidden Door? Do you care about the learning tree as much as I do not? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You guys take care. Bees, I'm out. Peace.